Hey, welcome back, everyone, to another segment of Teachable Moment on the Educational AD Podcast. We'll be right back with Dr. Mekia Troy, but we want to give a shout out to our partners, the Global Community of Women in High School Sports, Vital Signs Wall of Fame, We Coach, and the Florida Coaches Coalition. 4 great organizations. You should really make them part of your network. And now, don't hit that fast forward button. I'm watching you. Stay with us for the next 3 minutes as we give our sponsors a shout out. These are all companies I used as an athletic director. You should be using them too. Here we go. We want to say thanks to Vital Signs Wall of Fame for their support. They're on a mission to bring your school's legacy to life. If you're looking for a really cool way to display your school record boards or your school's Hall of Fame, or simply showcase your school's proudest moments, go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. Mention this podcast, you'll get a nice discount. That's vitalsignswalloffame.com. We also want to say thank you to Home Campus. Home Campus is the exclusive high school and student athlete eligibility platform for us. It's also your one-stop platform for scheduling, athletic clearance, coach management, and a whole lot more. Go to homecampus.com to see all the things they can do for you and your program. That's homecampus.com. We also want to say thanks to Gipper. Go to gipper.com. Their team is going to show you how to create professional looking sports graphics in seconds. It's so easy, even I can do it. Your kids are on social media. You should be there too, celebrating their wins, promoting your program. Go to gipper.com. Mention this podcast. They'll give you a nice discount. That's gipper.com. We also want to say thanks to Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com and schedule a live web demo to see their products in action. Probably one of the best purchases I ever made was the Sideline Interactive indoor score table. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. Check out their great products today. We also want to say thank you to Hometown Ticketing, the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. I think that's all I have to say. Go to hometownticketing.com. They're going to get you set up to sell your tickets online. It's digital ticketing that offers more support, more security, more customization. That's hometownticketing.com. We also want to say thank you to Snap Mobile. Go to snapraise.com. That's the website, okay? And check out their entire platform designed to help you do your job better. That's snapraise.com. And we want to say thanks to Huddle. Go to huddle.com. Change the way you see the game. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years, but when I became an athletic director, I made sure our school was a Huddle school. And the coaches just loved the tools that Huddle provided that helped them coach our kids up to their highest level. Go to huddle.com. See all the great things they can do for you. And we want to say thanks to Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. Athletic Surveys is a quick, easy, and it's an affordable way for you to collect comprehensive data that allows you to evaluate and improve your entire program. Go to athleticsurveys.com. They're going to create a custom survey that will connect you with your parents and your student athletes and let you take the pulse. That's a tremendously valuable piece of information to have when you're talking with your principal or your school board. That's athleticsurveys.com. Check them out today. Welcome back, everyone, to another segment of Teachable Moment featuring Dr. Mekia Troy from Creekside High School in Georgia. Dr. Troy is a certified master athletic administrator, and every week she shares a little bit of her wisdom with us. So, Dr. Troy, this is episode number 8. What do you have for our listeners this week?
All right. So thanks, Jake, for having me today. One of the first things that came to mind when I was asked about the possibility of becoming an athletic director was that I didn't know enough about football. That was the first thought that came to mind. And then I actually said it out loud when I was asked, hey, would you want to be an AD? I said, I don't know enough about football. I just completely overlooked the fact that I have experience coaching multiple sports. I have a background in physical education, a performance coaching certification. None of that mattered because the first thing I could think of was football. It took time for me to recognize that it really wasn't about football, even though it's big here in Georgia. It was really about my concern for observing and giving feedback to coaches in a sport that I had never actually coached. For some reason in my mind, I felt that the AD should know those things. Back in the day, it seemed like the same coaches coached everything. I mean, it's been some time ago, but you would look up and it seemed like the same teachers in their McGregor sneakers and bike shorts with the pockets. These same folks coached everything. But now, with the new technologies and the changing times and the year-round commitments that coaches have to give, you start to see that coaches are specializing the same way that the student athletes are specializing. So that's not as common anymore. So I had to really get over the fact that it didn't matter that I hadn't coached everything in this position as an athletic administrator, to still be able to provide feedback and observe coaches to help them in their programs. We know that what we do in educational athletics is way more than just X's and O's. And that really provides an opportunity to focus on those areas to highlight for the coach to know what they're doing well, what those goals already are, and then what areas of growth do they have in their program to help them see what those things are. Because the ultimate goal is definitely not just to highlight the success of a win-loss record, because there's so much more to educational athletics than that. So we have a responsibility to coach our coaches, observing what's going on in games. That's a part of it, but also let's get out into some practice sessions and see what's happening. I have a colleague that says that he likes to walk the track around the football field after school. They think he's getting exercise, but he's actually observing what's going on for any outdoor activity that's happening around him. Good idea, because an observation can be informal. It doesn't have to be, bring you in, sit down in the office all the time. It can be an informal observation, and then provide that feedback. Take those notes, even if it's mental notes, and give it back to the coach so they understand. And just like even in the classroom as a teacher, when you get this feedback, it needs to be timely. It doesn't need to be something that happened weeks ago that you saw, and then you don't address it until time has passed and maybe they've forgotten about whatever the situation was. You want to make sure that you give them some timely feedback as to ways that would benefit their program. Not just bad stuff, but additionally, you want to make sure that you speak on some positive things. What things were highlights that you saw that the coach can continue to focus on in their program, so they can really understand what that success is outside of just the win-loss record. And if the coach is able to see that you as an athletic administrator value success beyond that, you have a chance to model it so that they can see, oh, there's more for me to work on, more for me to do than just be so focused on X's, O's, wins, losses. So they understand that there's more to what we do than that. And success is defined by more than just that. So thankfully, over time, I understand and have adopted the idea that it really doesn't matter what you coached as an athletic administrator if you're able to highlight those other important aspects of educational athletics. And it's a good idea because now we have so many new sports, esports. I'm not a gamer. Even competitive dance is big here now in Georgia. There's nothing I could tell a coach about coaching competitive dance, but it's important, not from the, actual performance aspect. However, when it comes to communication with parents, budgeting, even practice sessions, those types of things, clearly as an athletic administrator, you can still provide observation and feedback no matter what the sport may be.
And I think that's such a important message for newer ADs that didn't even think about that. I was very late in my career as an athletic director when I took the job at my final school up in Tallahassee. That first time I ever had a swim program, and swimming and diving, and knew nothing about it. But we were very fortunate. We had a great young coach. She had been a national caliber competitor herself, wanted to learn about coaching, and it very much eased my transition into the world of swim. She was very patient with me, and she did a great job. But again, you talked about it, just getting out there and being there for the coaches, meeting the parents, meeting the kids, letting them know. I had several swim parents tell me at the first meet, the athletic director has never come to a swim meet before. So just showing up, as they say, showing up is half the battle. Very good stuff. There's a dozen different directions I want to go with this, but I know we don't have time. So I'm just going to jump to the chase. I know how to do this, but if one of our listeners wanted to reach out, pick your brain a little bit more about this very important topic, what's the best way they can get a hold of you?
You can find me on Twitter at Dr. Troy Me. That's DrTroyme, or just shoot me an email, drtroyme@gmail.com, and I'd be happy to respond.
Dr. Mekia Troy, certified master athletic administrator and the AD at Creekside High School in Georgia. Thanks again for sharing with our listeners, and all the best as we move, I think, full speed into winter sports.
Absolutely. Thank you.
For our listeners, as I say every week, we do this every week, every Thursday, and we also upload the Zoom recordings to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We appreciate you listening. Come back next week for another great teachable moment, and just about every day for new content on the Educational AD Podcast. We'll see you next time. Another great teachable moment. Wow, she just continues to knock it out of the park. Before we go, we do want to give a shout out to our sponsors because they knock it out of the park too. We want to say thanks to Hometown Ticketing, the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. Do I need to say anything else? Go to hometownticketing.com and get signed up. Speaking of home, how about Home Campus? Home Campus is the exclusive high school and state association management platform for us. It's also your one-stop for scheduling, eligibility, and a whole lot more. Go to homecampus.com to get signed up. We want to thank Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com for more information. We'd like to thank Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. My school, we use surveys for everything. Coaches, parents, kids, and the information that comes back, it's almost always positive, but it also gives you that squeaky wheel that you can address. Go to athleticsurveys.com to get started. We want to say thanks to Gipper. Gipper is the official social media graphics solution to the Educational AD Podcast. If you go to Gipper.com, and if you mention this podcast, they'll give you a nice discount. Go to Gipper.com. Start creating world-class content for your school's social media channel. We want to say thanks to Huddle. Go to Huddle.com. Start getting your coaches the tools that they need to coach your student athletes to the highest level. As a football coach, I used Huddle. As an AD, we were a Huddle school. Go to Huddle.com to get started. We want to say thanks to Vital Signs Wall of Fame. Their interactive touchscreen video boards are a great way to display your school record boards or your school's Hall of Fame, or simply tell your school's impressive story. Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. Mention this podcast to get started. We also want to say thanks to Snap Mobile. Go to snapraise.com. Check out their entire suite of platforms designed to help you do your job better. That's snapraise.com. Thanks again for listening to this segment of Teachable Moment with Dr. Mekia Troy. We'll see you next time on the Educational AD Podcast.